Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. Thanks for being here. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes, well, 1 minute. And as usual, just want to come in here and remind you of a few things. First of all, we've got a great show today. We're going to be reviewing the State of the Union. We got clips out the wazoo. It's going to be a good time. Just a little heads up, of course, YouTube will only be receiving half of the live broadcast. If you'd like to catch the other half, you got to find it somewhere else. We've gotten emails, people like, hey man, I'm just too lazy to switch over. I'm like, hey, that's okay. It's up to you. You're missing the show. We just can't do the full show on YouTube, or else we will end up doing none of the show on YouTube. So if you want to catch both parts of the show, make sure to follow us in some other location that you'll find at CanaryCry.Party. Woo! Thank you to everybody who's signed up for the text message alert system. The text message just went out, and if you want to join the text message alert system, you'll see a number on the screen. Just text Canary to that number. All right. Other than that, let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. We are live to tape, March 2nd, 2022. This is episode 453, and today, TOHU SOTU. Razzle dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Welcome to the podcast where we bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And do you have any idea what the show title means, Basil?
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit? Really?
Well, I know what SOTU is.
What's SOTU?
That's the State of the Union.
Very good.
Yeah.
And what TOHU?
TOHU. Tom Overton has urinitis.
Sure, yeah. Maybe something Trump says later about people from Uranus. No, it comes from, and I was trying to come up with, I come up with titles and stuff and try to be creative. In Genesis 1:2, the earth was formless and void. You know that line? Mm-hmm. Formless and void. Tohu vavohu. So I was like, oh, this is formless. It's confusing. There's emptiness in this State of the Union. So tohu vasotu instead of tohu vavohu.
Wow,
formless
that is
and void.
Some deep, some lot of layers to that. But very impressive.
Hey,
good job, Gonzo.
My brain has weird things in it, that weird angles and connections. Jeremiah 4:23 actually has the same phrase, tohu vavohu, but it's actually in the prophecies of the destruction of Israel back in Jeremiah's time. And so after the destruction, tohu vavohu, which leads some people to believe that Genesis passage is also after some kind of destruction.
Wow.
So big God's great reset compared to, this little one that Klaus and crew are trying to pull off. But anyway, that's where the title comes from.
That's cool. I like that. I got to remember that. Tohu vavohu.
Yeah.
And does it mean after the destruction, or what does it mean?
It literally is formless and void.
Formless and void.
Formless and void, yeah. And it's kind of
sounds like a cool tattoo somebody could get.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, it's an interesting rabbit hole when you go down that study of timelines in the Bible and stuff like that. Wow. But anyway.
I like it. Good job. Thank you very much. Adds some like academic and deep ancient feel to today's show, as if Joe Biden didn't add enough ancient feel to the show.
Yeah. Something came over me last night. I don't know what happened, but I sat through the State of the Union and I edited all these parts and tried to clip everything down, and it just so happens that landed on about 33 clips. So are we going to play 33 clips today? Who knows?
We must. We must.
We might.
It won't work unless we do. Okay, well, wonderful. We should start out with our lead story here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Fight for Ukraine. New world order.
Russia. Nice. Is that one of our new Ukraine jingles?
Yeah, we got a official Ukraine jingle. We'll be thanking the producer during the breaks, but yeah.
Indeed, yes, and very important because surely we'll be talking about Ukraine for at least months, possibly years right now. But back to our main lead story here. This is coming from Newsweek. And I just had to bring it to the show because there's some very interesting layers of the PSYOP involved here. But let me read a little bit to you. The headline is "Shocking Lessons U.S. Military Leaders Learned by Watching Putin's Invasion." Okay, shocking lessons. A little bit of clickbait there, but let's see what they have to say. Russia's military is weak and backwards.
Oh, that doesn't reek of propaganda right from the first line there.
Good start. Weak and backwards. Yeah. Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine produced this paradigm-shifting surprise, one that should transform the West's view of Russia's prowess, the threat that the country represents, and the Kremlin's future in the global arena. After just one day of fighting, Russia's ground force lost most of its initial momentum, undermined by shortages of fuel, ammunition, and even food, but also because of a poorly trained and led force. Russia began to compensate for the weaknesses of its land army with a more long-range air, missile, and artillery strikes, and President Putin resorted to a nuclear threat, a reaction, U.S. military experts say, to the failure of Moscow's conventional forces to make quick progress on the ground. Other military observers are flabbergasted that the Russian invasion force, fully prepared and operating from Russian soil, has been able to move just tens of miles into the adjoining country. One retired U.S. Army general told Newsweek in an email, quote, "We know that Russia has a plotting army and that Russian military force has always been a blunt instrument, but why risk the antipathy of the entire planet if you have no prospect of achieving even minimal gains? The Army general believes that the only explanation is that the Kremlin overestimated its own forces." Quote, "I believe that at the heart of Russian military thinking is how Marshal Zhukov marched across Eastern Europe to Berlin." A former high-level CIA official told Newsweek. A lot of CIA talk in a couple of articles this week, or this show rather, and which is great because if they're quoting a CIA official, you're getting some sort of, just straight up propaganda. Yeah. They are a propaganda outlet. So that's what makes it fun to sort of analyze. So there you go. The high-level CIA official told Newsweek in an interview, Zhukov's orders were to line up the artillery and flatten everything ahead of you, he says. Then send in the peasant army to kill or rape anyone left alive. Subtle, the Russians are not. He's referring to, what was it, World War II? World War II, yeah. In the short term, Russia's military failures in Ukraine increased the threat of escalation, including the possibility of the use of nuclear weapons. But in the longer term, if escalation doesn't worsen and the Ukrainian conflict can be contained, Russian conventional military weakness upends any assumptions that the geopolitical strategists, even those inside the U.S. government, make about Russia as a military threat. For the United States and the West, the stumbling Ukraine invasion recalls the collapse of the Soviet Union, an eye-opening moment when it became clear that a supposedly unstoppable military shrouded in a crumbling economy and a weak political and human base. It seems, three decades later, that few lessons have been learned. Moscow continues to invest in hardware at the cost of ignoring the human dimension of warfare and the human dimensions of the strength of the nation state. Russian leaders have also ignored the reality that success in the information age, even military success, demands education, open initiative, and even freedom. Oh, if only Russia had freedom, their army would be better.
I've noticed that the idea of pushing freedom has gone down on the ladder of like importance. It seems like, and we'll notice this too in the speech, the Biden speech, but yeah, freedom's not really cool anymore. It's more about winning in the information age.
Yes, but Gonz, with freedom, your army is better.
No, but we make rules for you. It's for your best interest.
That's, of course, how they would like it to. Yes, freedom, of course, has a different meaning nowadays. All right, one more article, and then I'll summarize. I'm sorry, one more paragraph, and then I'll summarize the rest. Quote, no dictator or authoritarian who wants to maintain power ever wants to instill too much skill in subordinate military leaders, the retired army general wrote to Newsweek. Whether it be Saddam Hussein or Vladimir Putin, the officer says, too much skill on the part of military subordinates is seen as increasing the likelihood of a coup. Yeah, okay. So the long and short of this, and it's a rather long analysis and really fascinating, especially if you like, military literature, strategy,
military history,
history,
the art of war,
exactly, military history. They kind of break down the whole strategy that's happened over the past couple days here. But the long and short of it is, and I didn't know this, but this article claims that the Russian army is a conscripted army. It's not a volunteer army like the U.S. So, it's not quite. I mean, it's something akin to a draft. Right. So you have all these Russian soldiers who are conscripted.
They're probably not super stoked about doing what they're being told to do.
Yeah, they're conscripted into the army. They're given minimal training, and then they're sort of just told what to do. And that's where that freedom aspect comes in. Because what we have, the explanation provided by this CIA propaganda in Newsweek is that this conscripted army in Russia is filled with soldiers who barely know what they're doing, don't want to be there, and a lot of them are surrendering. A lot of them are giving up. They're refusing to fight. They're just not a very effective ground force.
Yeah, but that could be the great misdirection.
Of course. Well, and that's
especially because the tactics are so arcane at this point.
Exactly,
rolling in with tanks and stuff. It's like, it is effective in one sense, but also it's like that's not kind of what warfare is anymore. It's effective theater now, especially now. Yeah,
is what it is. Right, and so part of me, so let me finish and we'll finish with the analysis. So that's kind of the long and short of what this article is talking about. The soldiers are not well trained, even though they have some superior technology and weapons. A really cool gun is not worth that much in the hands.
This gun tracks your number of bullets you fire.
Right. Yeah. It's not. Well, they have a Kalashnikov that has its own brain, because the problem, the biggest problem with infantry is that most of the guys in an infantry don't really, especially a conscripted army, they don't really want to kill anybody. They're not like cold hard killers, not all of them, and they don't hit a lot of things because they don't want to. Yeah, they kind of just
purposely miss, or
this is a classic military history problem. And so they have this sort of AI powered Kalashnikov that pulls the trigger for them.
That makes sense, and also it's sort of the argument for Hello, excuse me.
Do you have a baby arriving? Yes.
Yeah, not a baby, but
Okay. See, it's funny because the baby doesn't want to be called baby, but also Gonz doesn't want me to call it a baby.
okay. So what was I saying? I forget what I was saying. Something about.
Okay, let me continue.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because we'll wrap this up. So that's the long and short of it. Is it's been an ineffective. Some of the numbers, and that's how the Ukrainian civilian volunteers have been able to be so effective against the Russian conscripted army, because they just don't want to be there. Many of them are giving up. The casualties are much higher on the Russian side. They've lost more Russian soldiers in 3 days than America lost in Afghanistan in 20 years. The Ukrainian volunteer civilian army has destroyed something like close to 800 armored vehicles and tanks and things like that, using IEDs and stuff like that. Whereas I think Russia was boasting that they've taken out 80 Ukrainian armored vehicles. So the numbers are just staggering how poorly this invasion has actually gone. Yes, you have something to say?
I was just going to say that what I was going to mention before, I kind of missed what you were talking about there. I was talking about a kid. But it's an argument for that, creating that kind of hive mind, talking about an AI pulling the trigger instead of people. Like the people are just kind of there to be the, I don't know, the bodies, the nodes of the hive mind. You know? So you're not really thinking for yourself. It does lend credence to creating a military in that form.
And the CIA propaganda here actually talks a little bit about what you're talking about. It says here, quote, the synergy of coordinated attacks and effects, the senior officer said, quote, have not been achieved. As an example, the officer says the point of attacking air defenses is to hit the central nodes and connections between launchers and early warning systems so that the whole system collapses. Quote, the Russians seem to be focusing on piecemeal attacks because the choreography of a coordinated attack seems too complex for them to pull off. So the point being that they are not well choreographed. Right. They're not working as a hive mind. The leadership is not, not working together.
They're not rowing in the same direction.
Exactly. So it's not looking good. And so there's a bunch more details about this. It's a very fascinating article. Everybody should go read. But at the very least, the CIA is wanting the public to believe that Russia is not actually a military threat, a real military threat. Well, there's a couple of reasons I think this could be. This puts the nuclear threat of Putin putting his nuclear team on high alert or combat ready or whatever. They talk about how Putin is being sort of put into a corner. The fact that the army, the invasion is not going well was the reason he sort of extemporaneously started launching long-range missile attacks, artillery attacks, and airstrikes. And the fact that it's not going well is what has Putin on edge and threatening nuclear war.
They would have us believe.
They would have us believe. This is what the CIA wants us to believe. Whether it's true or not remains to be seen. And so I'll end it with this conclusion, which is the conclusion of the article. For Washington, this display of Russian military weakness should be comforting in terms of Moscow's true military threat to Europe. At the same time, though, it exposes the need for a different national security strategy, one that doesn't imagine Russia as a military equal, and one that doesn't push Vladimir Putin's back against a wall. And that's where we are. That's how we got here, and that's where we are. And I think it's in that context, it's important to now go through the State of the Union, which we will do in just a moment. But before that, let's thank everybody for being here and remind them what day it is.
Oh, you want to go there? Okay.
That's where we're going.
All right.
It's next on the list.
Well, I know, but I was going to mention how this whole thing is just one big psyop.
Psyops.
So
there you go.
That's all.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Hey guys, know what day it is? It's Wednesday. Time for the CanaryCry News Talk. Yeehaw!
The war continues, Gonz. Hit that other one.
For the OGs.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
There you go. Yes. Well, thanks for being here, everybody. This is kind of a special show, a little bit unusual, but we've got, like was mentioned earlier in the show, we've got like 30, I think maybe 33 clips.
Yeah, that was not planned, by the way.
Not
it was kind
planned.
of just happened.
It just happened to be that there were 33 important things for us to bring to the show. So it'll be a clip bonanza from the State of the Union address, and thankfully, and maybe surprisingly or unsurprisingly, it fits really well in with segments of the show that we do already.
Right.
So this episode of Canary Cry News Talk brought to you directly from Squinty Joe.
Yay.
Do you have any personal updates that we all need to know about before we move on?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not much. There's
I only
just
have
a lot
one.
of show. Yeah.
Yeah. My right arm is in so much pain.
Oh, what happened?
So much pain.
I told you not to get that mark on the right hand. I tried to warn you about it for years. You don't listen.
The doctor said that it would make my muscles so big. I just could not resist.
Yeah, even the elite would be, not the elite, the elect. The elect would be deceived.
It'll happen. Luckily, today is not that day. But I got a bow and arrow.
Oh,
I'm getting into the old compound bow situation.
I like that.
Yeah, it was fun. I played around with it all weekend. Shooting arrows, was really bad at it.
Okay,
really,
so
really bad.
You need to combine hobbies. You need to bring the bow and arrow to the ice skating rink and roller skating rink, and you know what to do.
Yeah. Well, self-defense is a right here in America. But yes, so I got into shooting bows. It's pretty fun. I feel like I'm connecting with the long history of human ranged lethality.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not shooting them very far right now. In fact, I actually had to bring the tension down because those compound bows they're pretty gnarly.
You're kind of more of an axe wielding kind of.
Well, here's the big problem. I started at 80 pounds, which is not very much. I mean, that's sort of like a beginner resistance amount. And it wasn't that I had trouble pulling it back or doing any of that. It's that when I missed the target, which was almost every time at first, it was just going so far, and I got tired of chasing them. So I brought it down to about 50 pounds. So when I miss the target, it doesn't go too far. But after 3 days of pretty much shooting that bow like 2 or 3 hours a day, I finally can pretty consistently hit the target. And also I have completely destroyed my right arm, which is so sore. It's as if I was lifting, 50-pound weight over and over for 3
Well, you need to be ambidextrous,
3 hours, 3 days.
You got to be the archer that can flip sides, You never know what side the enemy's going to come from.
And I need to do it. I need to be able to ride a horse, maybe an ostrich.
And skate. There's a lot going on.
Work on my Scythian warrior skills.
Yep.
So anyways, that's what I did with my weekend.
Fun.
Not weekend, but actually, yeah, it was the weekend. My arm has been hurting since Monday. Oh, there you go. Okay, that's my update, everybody. You can get the fan art going on that if you'd like. But other than that, Gonz, I need to do a quick check because usually this is where we thank our executive or associate executive producers of the show. And as of this exact moment, we have no executive or associate executive producers for the State of the Union thing. So we got nobody to thank right now.
It's okay.
Does this mean that Joe Biden is the executive producer?
Yay, no. Joe. No, maybe it's Flippy.
Maybe it's Flippy. Well, We'll hold out. There's still
Okay.
time
All right.
for an executive or an associate executive to come in. And if somebody comes in before the break, we'll stop the show and thank them because they will be the hero for the day.
Cool. Okay.
And you know who's our hero every day?
Right.
It's Flippy.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
It's time for the Flippy update. If you don't know, Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world, just how there's nothing we can do about it. Okay? Well, today. Okay. You hear me?
You've done the line so many times. You're starting to get a little angry at the people, they don't get it yet.
I'm angry at myself. I forgot the friend part. He's becoming our best friend, of course.
Maybe you feel betrayed is why.
Yes. Flippy is not caring for my emotional needs. What is the point of all this science? Well, let's get into it. This is coming from SciTech Daily, and the headline is How to Help Humans Understand Robots to Collaborate Faster and More Effectively. Which this may not seem like a strange headline to you, but Flippy update connoisseurs and devotees will notice a flippening happening here on the Flippy update. This is no longer how to help robots understand humans, how to help robots interact with humans, how robots can change to better fit into human society. No, this is how to help humans understand robots to collaborate faster and more effectively. They've
it's
finally
not a
done it.
robot problem. It's a us
human problem.
Yeah.
The robots are fine, perfect creations of the new gods of this world, scientists. So now the humans have to change for the robots. So I'm just going to get a little bit into it, and then we'll summarize and talk about it. Theories from cognitive science and psychology could help humans learn to collaborate with robots faster and more effectively. Scientists find. They found this, Gonz. This is not like an opinion the scientists have here. We are presenting a discovery.
They found a fact.
Scientists who study human-robot interaction often focus on understanding human intentions from a robot's perspective, so the robot learns to cooperate with people more effectively. But human-robot interaction is a two-way street, and the human also needs to learn how the robot behaves. Yeah, see? Starts out with robots being a tool for humans to make their lives better. And now it's a two-way street, Gonz. It's a relational situation between us and the robots. No longer is it an object for us to employ, but it is a being, an entity with which we must learn how to cooperate.
Okay.
Thanks to decades of cognitive science and educational psychology research, scientists have a pretty good handle on how humans learn new concepts. So researchers at MIT and Harvard University collaborated to apply well-established theories of human concept learning to challenges in human-robot interaction. They examined past studies that focused on humans trying to teach robots new behaviors. The researchers identified opportunities where these studies could have incorporated elements from two complementary cognitive science theories into their methodologies. So again, we're talking about cognitive science for humans. How do we manipulate humans into behaving better to the robots? They used examples from these works to show how the theories can help humans form conceptual models of robots more quickly, accurately, and flexibly, which could improve their understanding of a robot's behavior.
Conceptual models of robots. Interesting.
Oh yeah, that's the first clue. You caught on to it. Humans who build more accurate mental models of a robot are often better collaborators, which is especially important when humans and robots work together in high-stakes situations, like manufacturing and healthcare, says Serena Booth, a graduate student in the Interactive Robotics Group of the Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory and lead author of the paper. Quote, whether or not we try to help people build conceptual models of robots, they will build them anyway, and these conceptual models could be wrong. This can put people in serious danger. It is important that we use everything we can to give that person the best mental model they can build, which is a pretty spooky statement coming from one of the researchers here. Oh, if humans don't know how to act around robots, they could be in serious danger.
What kind of danger is she
talking about? What have we been saying the whole time, man? You got to be nice to these robots or they'll turn on you. Booth and her advisor, Julia Shaw, an MIT professor of aeronautics and astronautics and the director of the Interactive Robotics Group, co-authored this paper in collaboration with researchers from Harvard. Elena Glassman, 08, MNG, 11, PhD, 16, an assistant professor of computer science at Harvard, John A. Paulson School of Engineering and Applied. Oh my gosh.
Okay, yes, people did it.
This is a whole paragraph of explaining who two people are. I'm going to skip that whole paragraph. Just a couple more. A theoretical approach. The researchers analyzed 35 research papers on human-robot teaching using two key theories. The analogical transfer theory suggests that humans learn by analogy.
Humans. Yeah.
Yeah. Did I not say humans?
Humans learn. You said human learn by analogy.
Okay. Humans learn by analogy. When a human interacts with a new domain or concept, they implicitly look for something familiar they can use to understand the new entity. Yeah. The variation theory of learning argues that strategic variation can reveal concepts that might be difficult for a person to discern otherwise. It suggests that humans go through a 4-step process when they interact with a new concept: repetition, contrast, generalization, and variation. And I'll stop reading there and I'll summarize the rest because it gets pretty dense. The long story short is this analogical transfer theory is the idea that we learn by analogy, which is when we see a new entity, we have
to relate it to something we already understand.
Right. We recall it to an experience we had before. And, that's why analogies in general are so effective. That's why analogies show up in storytelling and movies and books and even Jesus would tell analogies in the parables.
Right.
So it's a very effective way of learning, but it's also sort of this, back door into the human psyche or the human mind is using these analogies. So the long story short, they're sort of, they would like to find a way to create analogies for robots to help humans better act around robots. They're done making the robots bend to the human experience or to the human will. Now it's humans' turn to learn how to better act around the robots, and doing this through analogies.
See, what I'm trying to think of an example. Did they come up with an example of this? Because is it some kind of like a human action, maybe like being curled up in the fetal position in the corner, like, a robot that's turned off is the same as when you're feeling depressed or something. You know what I mean? Or is it?
Yeah. They do give an example.
Okay.
And I'll give you that example now. Let's see how quickly I can scan this and find the exact spot, because my highlighter broke on my browser. So I have to just remember these things. Hold on. I'll do this. I'll do this the easy way. But I find it really interesting, especially because we know how the social engineering works, whereas, it's a subtle backdoor experience trying to socially engineer large populations, and it's done through things like stories, like narratives, sometimes put into sort of realistic terms like the news, and other times in movies. Yes, and I have this here. These cognitive science theories could also improve physical robot design. This is an example of the analogy. If a robotic arm resembles a human arm, come on, Flippy's here, baby, but moves in ways that are different from human motion, people will struggle to build accurate mental models of the robot, Booth explains, as suggested by analogical transfer theory, because people map what they know, a human arm, to the robotic arm. If the movement doesn't match, people can be confused and have difficulty learning to interact with the robot. This arm doesn't move like human arm.
I don't know about
this
that.
Difficult.
This is... I don't know about this explanation of things.
Well, and
Booth.
the point, the fun part is they talk about physical movement of a robot arm, but I think it's even deeper than that. I think we're talking about emotional analogies.
Yeah.
And we had a producer send in a perfect example of this, which we'll break down next episode. We didn't have time to prepare it for this episode, but we'll bring up this analogical transfer theory. Focus on the Family created a cartoon series. I don't have the name of it right in front of me, where they just aired the very last episode of this cartoon series. And, it's a Christian cartoon meant for kids to teach them Christian lessons.
Adventures in Odysee.
That's what it is. A classic Adventures. Can you believe they're still making Adventures in Odyssey, people? Gonz, you came to the faith a little later, but as a child and as a Christian child in America, Adventures in Odyssey were like the cartoon you were allowed to watch no matter what. And usually you just get them in these gigantic VHS box sets.
So they had an episode called Drake and the Aberrant Automaton.
Yes, and we are going to break that down next episode. But it is an analogy, as Adventures in Odyssey is. They are cartoon analogies for kids to learn Christian principles. This analogy was about robots. It was about androids. It was about an android sort of struggling to fit in with a human family. And, of course, they're scared.
Okay.
Yeah, they go through the whole emotional roller coaster of what this robot means. And from what we are led to believe, the Focus on the Family children's analogy cartoon series ends with a robot becoming a part of the family.
Yeah,
finding love.
It's the Pinocchio thing too, Yeah,
it's basically a different version of Pinocchio. But there you go, talking about the analogies that will teach humans how to better interact with robots and usher in the new age of robotic personhood, in which we can love and befriend our metal friends without, much resistance from the population.
And from metal friends to, I don't know.
Metal friends.
Metal friends that need to help out the president.
Yeah, let's check in with the State of the Union address from Squinty Joe.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
Let me play this 9-second clip at the beginning. It's a news report. And this is more of a visual, okay? So I'm sorry, audio listeners. Just imagine a picture of Joe Biden and the promotion of the State of the Union popping up as the report is being given by this lady.
And no arrests have been made.
A 71-year-old man is accused of inappropriately touching a 12-year-old girl at the Walmart in West Mifflin Sunday afternoon.
Whoopsie daisies. For those who are just listening, this was, as you heard, a 71-year-old man got busted for something.
Touching a 12-year-old girl or something.
Touching a 12-year-old girl. And the image that comes up on the news report is Joe Biden. A picture of Joe Biden.
State of the Union.
State of the Union address. Just a little whoopsie daisies from the control room there. Man. But it was pretty hilarious.
Yeah. Okay, so let's dive into all these clips here because I don't know what came over me. I just decided to sit through all of it and just find the good moments, but also
you did it
moments
for us, Gonz.
I sacrificed sleep for this.
Yes.
So Biden was off to a riveting start here.
Tonight we meet as Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, but most importantly, as Americans.
If you were playing a drinking game last night, you were not going to work today. With Biden's speech here, like anytime he slurred or anytime he misspoke or something like that, I think he was trying to say tonight we meet, but it sounded like to might me meet to me. But
to might me meet.
Tonight we meet.
Okay, so there's one. He was off to a blistering start there, and then let's get into some Ukraine Putin stuff. Oh, hold on, come on.
Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia.
Fight for Ukraine. Ukraine. New world order.
Russia's Vladimir Putin sought to shake the very foundations of the free world, thinking he could make it bend to his menacing ways. But he badly miscalculated. He thought he could roll into Ukraine and the world would roll over. Instead, he met with a wall of strength he never anticipated or imagined. He met the Ukrainian people.
A lot of people in Ukrainian gear and stuff like that. I think there was a representative there too. But there you go. A mall of Ukrainians.
A mall of Ukrainians.
Mall of Ukrainian people that he met. He messes up Ukrainian a lot. For a guy that helped install people and give them billions of dollars, he should be able to pronounce the country better.
Well, I know. And that's kind of the fun. Again, remember the context of the sort of CIA message of how bumbling Russia is funny when he starts talking about how great this has gone for NATO.
Yeah.
But also, remember, keep in mind Biden's long history of business interests, of corrupt political dealings in Ukraine, of Hunter Biden, of all these things.
Yeah.
That's all in the context of what he's saying here. Okay.
Yep. He's talking about dictators' cost to America and the world here.
We, the United States of America, stand with the Ukrainian people. Throughout our history, we've learned this lesson. When dictators do not pay a price for their aggression, they cause more chaos. They keep moving, and the cost, the threats to America to the world keeps rising. That's why the NATO alliance was created, to secure peace and stability in Europe after World War II.
Okay, there you go.
What are we listening to there?
I mean, that's it. Talking about dictators here.
Okay.
Let's move on. I'm going to try to get through. We have a lot to get through.
Plow through.
Yeah, there'll be moments to stop and comment on things. Other times we'll let it sit there. This is talking about confronting Putin.
Putin's latest attack on Ukraine was premeditated and totally unprovoked.
Oh, right there. So, totally unprovoked. Is that? Come on. Do we not?
Yeah,
do people...
that is not quite true. I mean, he was provoked by the threat of putting Ukraine into NATO.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
at the very least. And then if we're talking further back in history, anyway.
He rejected repeated efforts at diplomacy. He thought the West and NATO wouldn't respond.
Shot of Abe Lincoln.
He thought he could divide us at home, in this chamber, in this nation. He thought he could divide us in Europe as well. But Putin was wrong. We are ready. We are united, and that's what we did. We stayed united. We prepared.
we are united, and that's what we did. We stayed united.
Extensively and carefully. We spent months building coalitions of other freedom-loving nations in Europe and the Americas, from America to the Asian and African continents.
What?
To confront Putin.
It's a lot of stuff to confront Putin. The Asian Africans,
the
Freedies. Yeah. Okay. Here's him talking about countless hours. I want to know if you think this is a slip or what is going on here.
Like many of you, I spent countless hours unifying our European allies. We shared with the world in advance what we knew Putin was planning and precisely how we would try to falsify and justify his aggression.
Falsify and justify his aggression.
Falsify his aggression.
So,
yeah.
What?
That's a pretty weird thing to
falsify and justify his aggression?
No, falsify is what Biden tried to do about his aggression.
I know. It's just weird that it's a juxtaposition or a contrasting thing if you're saying you're going to falsify, but then you're justifying it. I wonder what the prompter said. You know, that's my question.
Yeah, maybe he was the falsify was that the false flag? Maybe he's trying to refer to the false flags or something.
Yeah. Falsify and justify his aggression. We countered Russia's lies with the truth.
Oh.
And now that he's acted. The free world is holding him accountable.
The free world.
Along with 27 members of the European Union, including France, Germany, Italy, as well as countries like the United Kingdom, Canada, Japan, Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and many others, even Switzerland. Are inflicting pain on Russia and supporting the people of Ukraine. Putin is now isolated from the world more than he has ever been. Together,
standing O. Putin is more isolated than any man, standing O.
He's ever been. The Switzerland thing was interesting. Switzerland, traditionally, neutral country, especially when it comes. Officially registered as neutral, even when it comes to NATO.
Yeah.
Went ahead and banned all Russian banking. So all the oligarchs with their money in Swiss bank accounts.
Yeah,
they're all cut off. It's like a whole thing.
How much do they depend on Russia for fuel and energy and stuff?
That is a great question. I don't know. I don't think that's their biggest concern.
Right. I'm just curious.
Yeah. So, but again, remember, we are talking about the New World Order, which, remember, we've been living in the New World Order for a while. Versus whatever Putin is doing.
Right.
So, it's kind of like an all hands on deck type of situation. Nobody can be seen not condemning Russia, not because of some geopolitical interest they may have, but because of the New World Order interest. It's a statement on this is outside of the norms, outside of how the world runs now. And that's why it's such a big deal that Switzerland would do literally anything to get involved.
I had this clip about the airspace, and you thought it was something else, but I have it here. Just all the things that they're doing.
We're cutting off Russia's largest banks in the international financial system, preventing Russia's central bank from defending the Russian ruble. Defending the Russian ruble, making Putin's $630 billion war fund worthless. We're choking Russia's access.
We're choking them.
We're choking Russia's access to technology that will sap its economic strength and weaken its military.
Sap or zap, you think?
Sap its economic strength and weaken.
Makes sense.
We're choking Russia's access to technology that will sap its economic strength and weaken its military for years to come. Tonight, I say to the Russian oligarchs and the corrupt leaders who bilked billions of dollars off this violent regime, no more. The United States. I mean it.
What is this cheering? They must have. That is hilarious. The cheer. Maybe play that again. Oh, there it goes. Okay, they're showing it. This cheering is just out of control. I mean, they must have sent out a mass text beforehand. Like, hey, everybody, okay, we need to send a message to the world and to Putin,
the State
to Russia.
of the Union always has this, but it's not like every other line or something, or at least it didn't seem like it when I remember the last few that we've seen. So anyway, the
unification. Funny. The point I want to make is there is a theater of unification.
Yes.
He keeps talking about how, Putin has unified the U.S. He's done more to unify the U.S. than anybody else. Yes, including you, Biden, by the way.
Right.
Even though that was like your campaign promise or whatever.
Right.
So, when you think about the games being played here, this theater of unity is not just for us to be like, oh, wow, we're finally one country again because we have an enemy. It's the old playbook. Common enemy unifies the country.
Right.
But it's also theater for Putin. Like, oh, look, we're stronger than ever because we are together. Your Russian troll farms are not separating us.
Especially as we go through, Biden definitely throws some bones to the Republicans and, makes it seem like he's bringing the parties together like he promised. So, but back to this, all the stuff.
Okay.
The United States Department of Justice is assembling a dedicated task force to go after the crimes of the Russian oligarchs. We're
the lagging.
joining with European allies to find and seize their yachts, their luxury apartments, their private jets. We're coming for your ill-begotten gains. And tonight, I'm announcing that we will join our allies in closing off American airspace to all Russian flights, further isolating Russia and adding additional squeeze on their economy.
Why are you cheering for this? There has to be an applause sign.
It goes for a while,
too. He has no idea what's coming.
He has no idea what's coming.
Theater. We're gonna take their yachts. Yeah, take their yachts. We're not gonna let them fly into our country. Yeah, keep the Russians out of here. We hate Russian airplanes. We're gonna freeze their bank accounts. Yeah, give us all the money. It's just like an insane display of this wild applause.
The people had to stand up, sit down. I mean, this was more than like a Catholic church service. This was crazy how many times they had to stand up and clap and sit down. And, I wanted to go through this too, because for the New World Order Fantasy League game, this is like a big place to really get a moment for everybody, AOC had a moment. Yes. We'll go through some of the people that had their moment to stand up.
It's like the Grammys. Yeah,
it is. It's like the Grammys for politics. It's
the audience cameras,
Yes.
They'll just switch over the camera to, get them. There's AOC. Get her reaction.
Right.
Okay, go get this guy's reaction.
Yeah. Did you want to mention or talk about real briefly this drone thing here? Because with all the stuff going on,
I'll just mention it.
Sure.
We don't need to read too much of it, but this was another article from Newsweek again, and as it ties into the CIA, as we sort of talk about the propaganda involved in all of this, again in the context not just of the Ukraine crisis, not just in the context of Biden and Ukraine, but also in the context of our 20 years of drone activity and the CIA's role in propaganda, even coming out of the pandemic here. The headline, again, this is from Newsweek. The headline is Russian missteps open door for Biden to wage secret drone war in Ukraine.
Hey, that sounds familiar.
Drone strikes have saved lives.
Yeah.
Can we shoot them down if over our property?
Drones.
Like his old boss.
Russia's inability or unwillingness to close the skies over Ukraine has presented a potential opportunity for the United States to conduct a secret drone campaign in the conflict-ravaged
How is
country.
it secret if you're blasting it on Newsweek?
So secret. The Russians don't read Newsweek. You know this. Current and former U.S. military officials familiar with the nation's drone program tell Newsweek. In the chaos on the ground in Ukraine, these sources said it would be possible to obscure who is flying the unmanned aerial combat systems,
Ooh.
And at the same time, avoid belying Biden's public promises not to send U.S. troops to take on Russian soldiers. Quote, Biden's statement about no U.S. service members in Ukraine opens the door wide to covert drones, as well as CIA paramilitary in the country, one former senior U.S. intelligence officer told Newsweek. Okay. So again, there's a whole article about how exactly it would work, how we could fly drones over Ukraine and fight this war secretly and covertly. Again, another fascinating article, but it is all revolving around these CIA operations. So we have another instance of this CIA propaganda being put out by Newsweek. And the CIA paramilitary. So, we might not have soldiers on the ground, but, we'll have little CIA teams running around covertly, pulling off little secret missions, which I think is very interesting in the context of, there's probably some pretty sensitive files, documents, things regarding Hunter Biden's corruption in Ukraine, the Biden family's business dealings, all sorts of stuff going on in that country that would be pretty convenient, or it'd be inconvenient for the Russians to get their hands on. So, you got to get your little CIA paramilitary in there, and you can't have a CIA paramilitary operating without any air support. Yeah. So that's where the drones come in. You need drones for surveillance, reconnaissance. They talk about all this in the article, but even potentially lethal force by these drones. Yeah. And, again, okay, yeah, I totally believe that there's CIA paramilitary pulling little secret missions right now, doing some cleanup. Oh, yeah, and they're 100%. Probably already is at least reconnaissance surveillance drones flying overhead.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. But, it's weird that in this time when any kinetic conflict between Russia and U.S. Perceived right now could literally result in a nuclear missile getting fired, as the U.S. and Russia would officially be at war.
Right.
So the fact that they're talking about this so flippantly is like, oh yeah, we could do this. We could probably get away with it. And if they find us, we'll just tell them that it's the Ukraine's drones. We donated it to the Ukraine. And just publishing it as if it's not going to exacerbate the situation.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
They're either wanting to exacerbate the situation, or it's just complete propaganda for one reason or another, or both.
And the same players are at the State of the Union here.
Yep.
Let's see. This one's labeled, let me be clear, U.S. not fighting Ukraine. Oh, this one was weird, too. This is 18 second.
But let me be clear. Our forces are not engaged and will not engage in the conflict with Russian forces in Ukraine.
Conflict.
The
clownfict.
The clownfict. You're right. I mean, the truth wants to come out, man. It's not a conflict. It's a clownflict.
Engaged and will not engage in the conflict with Russian forces in Ukraine. Our forces are not going to Europe to fight Ukraine.
Our forces are not going to Europe to fight Ukraine. Really, Biden? Let me be clear. Our forces are not going to Europe to fight Ukraine.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
okay.
really good news.
Pretty sure that was clear, but okay.
That would cause more problems than it would solve, for sure.
Not going to Europe to fight Ukraine, but to defend our NATO allies in the event that Putin decides to keep moving west.
Yeah, so he's okay. All right.
Again, it might be the truth coming out in regards to the CIA paramilitary kind of going in and, doing the cleanup job, making sure that intelligence doesn't get in the hands of the Russians. They might need to do some things that the Ukrainians don't want them to do. So.
Well, it's interesting because if you are a one world government person, you would want to consolidate in any way, shape, or form. So even if there is tension, if it drives Russian expansion westward, I mean, they already have it with certain infrastructure, but like more geopolitically, then yeah, great, consolidate, and then we will consolidate you later. You know, that kind of thinking. Okay, here's Biden. Again, I'm just going to let him talk.
Putin has unleashed violence and chaos, but while he may make gains on the battlefield, he'll pay a continuing high price over the long run. And a pound of Ukrainian people.
A pound of Ukrainian people.
He got it too short. What does he say?
I will play the whole thing, but let me just highlight. He says a pound of Ukrainian people.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to say. It's definitely not on the prompter.
No.
Whoever that is, he's going rogue here, and it doesn't make any sense.
May make gains on the battlefield, he'll pay a continuing high price over the long run. And a pound of Ukrainian people, the proud, proud people, pound for pound, ready to fight with every inch of energy they have. They've known 30 years of independence, have repeatedly shown that they will not tolerate anyone who tries to take their country backwards.
Backwards?
What? Take it backwards.
Oh my gosh, this guy's impossible to understand, man.
Oh,
it's crazy.
I'm telling you, that's why I wanted to clip stuff and just make sure that I'm not going crazy watching.
Yeah.
I'm like, did he just say pound of Ukrainians?
It's almost unintelligible.
That's weird, man.
It's so close to being entirely unintelligible.
Oh man! And then you got to stand up and clap. This is just the moment when he talks about the 60 million barrels of oil reserve.
To all Americans, I'll be honest with you, as I always promised I would be. A Russian dictator invading a foreign country has cost around the world. And I'm taking robust action to make sure the pain of our sanctions is targeted at the Russian economy, and that we use every tool at our disposal to protect American businesses and consumers.
The thing that I don't like is he's basically saying, like, yeah, we're going to make sure the Russian people suffer, you know, without really saying it. It's kind of like, I get it, but...
Well, yeah, right. And that's the thing that makes it so annoying. I was going to say sick, but it's not quite sick, a little sick, where you have all these, you know, good liberal social justice warriors clapping for sanctions on Russia, which, you know, yeah, of course, oligarchs and
if you're
Putin
just looking at the geopolitical
and politicians
power
and
structures,
stuff like that, that's good. You want that. And the sort of backsplash of regular Russian citizens being harmed, you know, is still useful, because then it sort of stokes internal conflict, protests, things like that, where Putin is seen as sort of ruining the economy because of his crazy actions.
Yeah.
So that's all good. But, you know, this is going to have effects across the world. It's something like Russia and Ukraine put together account for 25% of the world's wheat production.
Wow.
So,
there you go.
You know, that's a quarter of the entire world's wheat. And, you know, if Russia's sanctioned, nobody is able to buy Russian wheat. And probably right now, you know, Ukraine's wheat fields are not in good shape, probably getting set on fire or something like that. Who knows? Right. Or at least the supply chain getting interrupted. That's a quarter of the entire Earth's wheat entirely erased from the economy of the world again. But, you know, including the U.S., where we're already experiencing crazy inflation, supply chain issues, et cetera, but now the price of bread is going to go up, you know, at least 25%, possibly more.
Yeah.
And there are some countries around the world that purchase 100% of their nation's wheat from Russia and Ukraine. And so there are entire countries who are going to, you know, potentially be put in a starvation mode due to the U.S.'s sanctions.
All that synthetic food, there was a reason, right?
Yeah.
Let me let him finish here.
Protect American businesses and consumers. Tonight, I can announce the United States has worked with 30 other countries to release 60 million barrels of oil from reserves around the world. America will lead that effort, releasing 30 million barrels of our own strategic petroleum reserve.
Sure.
And we stand ready to do more if necessary, united with our allies.
Very good. United with allies. Here
Yeah,
is,
they don't mention where this oil is going. Is it going to Ukraine or just released out into our economy?
I think it's just, I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I thought it was just it was to people in Europe, that need it, but maybe it's for us to relieve some of the pricing here.
Probably a little bit of both.
This is the first time where I thought he was gonna whisper, but he did not.
I know news about what's happening can seem alarming to all Americans, but I want you to know we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay.
Thanks, Uncle Joe. Everything's going to be okay.
This is Daddy Joe. He's trying to be Daddy Joe. Bring comfort.
And then one more talking about the Ukrainian people, I think.
So let us continue to draw inspiration from the iron will of the Ukrainian people. To our fellow Ukrainian Americans who forged the deep bond that connects our two nations, we stand with you. We stand with you. Putin may circle Kyiv with tanks, but he'll never gain the hearts and souls of the Iranian people. He'll never extinguish their love of freedom, and he will never weaken the resolve of the free world.
All right.
Oh, that makes all the tweets make sense. I heard people referring to him saying Iranian people.
Yeah,
he said Uranian.
He said Uranian. Let me just double check.
From Uranus.
Yeah.
But he'll never gain the hearts and souls of the Iranian people.
Yeah, Iranian people.
It does kind of say Iranian, yeah.
It's kind of one of those what color is her dress things, If you're thinking Uranus, Uranian.
Yeah, he's calling the Ukrainians aliens.
Did you know Uranus has 13 rings, allegedly?
I did know that.
And it was discovered on, I think it was March 13th.
One of the elementary school projects that I am proudest of was I did a report on Uranus. So I'm an expert on Uranus.
Excellent. We're going to do more clips specifically tied to the politics side of things in a moment. But did you want to? Should we talk about this thing?
Let's just mention it. We do need to keep moving, but we'll just mention it. This comes from dailymail.co.uk. The headline is Ukraine says it has killed a team of Chechen assassins who are plotting to murder, all caps, President Zelensky.
Yeah.
Ukraine has claimed it destroyed an elite group of Chechen fighters today that were plotting to assassinate President Vladimir Zelensky. Destroyed is a hilarious word to put there, not just because it's a weird word. Instead of saying killed an elite group,
right?
It destroyed. Because when if a horse breaks a leg or something, you destroy the horse. You don't kill the horse. You destroy it. You put it out.
Right.
Olinsky Danilov, Ukraine's Secretary of the National Security and Defense Council, said during a televised address today that the unit, quote, which came to kill our president, was eliminated. Earlier today, Ramzan Zadravov, the strongman leader of Chechnya, said that Chechens have been killed in Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. The unit was sent into Ukraine by Kadyrov, who is a staunch ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin. Quote, we are already aware of the special operation that was to be carried out by Kadyrov forces units, Danilov said on Ukraine 24 TV channel The Mirror reported. Quote, we received the information from representatives of Russia's Federal Security Service who do not want to take part in this bloody war. The Kadyrov forces unit, which came to kill our president, was eliminated. Danilov said the unit had been split into two groups and its movements were being closely tracked. And then it talks about how they took out the unit. They had them in their sights and divided the groups and tracked them and took them out, destroyed them. But the real interesting thing is they got this information from Russia's Federal Security Service. There are officials in the Russian government who are, passing on this information to defend the Ukrainian president. Now, this could be true, or it could be very effective propaganda put out by the Ukrainians to make Putin more paranoid, to sow discord in the leadership, to really get him losing his mind, trying to sniff out a rat as a distraction. Or it could be true, because there's plenty of people in Russia who disagree with this whole event.
Right.
Either way, it's definitely going to be driving Putin crazy. Guys like this, and Putin is notoriously sort of suspicious. But this happened in World War II. This has happened. It happened with Saddam Hussein. When a dictator or a tyrant or a whatever gets to a certain level or a certain age or a certain time in their legacy, they tend to get a little nuts and become very paranoid.
Yeah, well, they're surrounded by yes men. They're they're thinking legacy and things like that. Yeah,
exactly.
They're not
and
thinking
their
like
power
normal
is
people.
threatened. So whether or not this is true, it's an extremely powerful piece of psychological operation against Putin.
Yeah.
So just another example of the different ways that wars can be waged.
Putin should go to a party. CanaryCry.Party. Find the live stream, email list, street team posters, find other Canarians, and all the ways to produce the show and join the Canary Cry family.
Welcome to CanaryCry.Party. It's the place you wanna be. So stay. Welcome to CanaryCry. Gameplay. CanaryCry.Party.
That's right. Because remember, YouTubers, you'll need to find another outlet to catch the second half of the show. And CanaryCry.Party, CanaryCry.Party is the place to find that. And just a reminder, go ahead and follow the Canary Cry Clips YouTube channel. Just search Canary Cry Clips. It'll pop up there for you. Shareable, careable clips of the show. So you can go back and review, or you can share the clips. Much easier than sharing a 4-hour podcast. Last but not least, check out Ravel Podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever if you're looking for some supplemental biblical material. Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates, a PhD in biblical interpretation, and I team up to talk scripture, society, and scandal. We're currently in the midst of a mini-series talking to artists, having some wonderful, deep conversations with some creative people. Check it out, Ravel Podcast. It's the one with the good logo, the white background, and my name on it, not that other Ravel podcast. And that's it.
It's Latin for many. Stick. Now suck your blood. Now suck
Politics.
your blood.
According to CBS News, 78% of voters approved of President Biden's State of the Union address.
Weird.
78%, really?
What does approve of a speech mean, too?
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
If it's like, did you like the speech? Did the speech inspire you? Did it mean something to you? Approve of a speech is pretty vague and strange, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, back to the SOTU, and Chuck Schumer had his moment, but he kind of jumped the gun. And this is more of a visual thing, so we can describe what happens. But the camera goes on to Chuck Schumer when Biden starts talking about the whole American Rescue Plan, and I don't know. It's just kind of one of those funny moments.
Unlike the $2 trillion tax cut passed in the previous administration that benefited the top 1% of Americans, the American Rescue Plan helped working people and left no one behind.
Chuck's moment.
Folks, and it worked.
It worked.
It worked.
It worked. Very excited about the American Rescue Plan.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I didn't really understand. What was the booing for?
The booing was for the top, something about the top 1%. Let me play it again.
$1 tax cut passed in the previous administration that benefited the top 1% of Americans. The American Rescue Plan.
The tax plan.
Please. That's how you know this is all theater.
Right.
I mean, it does Trump's tax cut for the people in Congress.
Yeah.
And they boo at their own tax cut. Yeah, right. This is total theater. And yeah, Chuck Schumer, for those who are just listening, it cuts to him a little early. And you're right. They must have monitors.
Oh no, they have not only that, but they also first of all, the people that get the camera on them, they know they're on screen, and also there's a memo. The speech is all written out. They know who to go to when, because the camera gets there pretty quick. Even before they're even supposed to be there. So,
and the funny part is the camera switches to Schumer.
He's ready to clap.
He immediately stands up and starts clapping before anything. Before Biden finishes his sentence, everybody around him is like, "Oh, Chuck, no, not yet, bro. You're standing up too fast." And he kind of notices that he got the timing wrong, and he sits back down and then waits and then stands up and starts clapping. So he was, watching a monitor. The camera goes to him. He sort of freaks out, stands up, starts clapping.
He's about to clap, but then he sits. He kind of looks around,
sits down, and immediately stands back up.
Nice save, bro. This was your moment.
A little embarrassing there,
A little embarrassing, yeah. Okay, moving on here. The number 13 keeps popping up. We had the 13 rings of Uranus and all that stuff before. March 13th, the day of the Uranus's discovery. And now the United States ranked 13th.
America used to have the best roads, bridges, and airports on Earth. And now our infrastructure is ranked 13th in the world. We won't be able to compete for the jobs of the 21st century if we don't fix it. That's why it was so important to pass the bipartisan infrastructure law. And I thank my Republican friends who joined to invest and rebuild America. The single biggest investment in history.
Single biggest investment in history. Bipartisan Rebuild America plan.
I wonder if that biggest investment in history is adjusted for inflation.
Of course not. They got rid of those calculations a decade ago. This was just a funny moment. This is one of the I don't know who he is, but they kind of zoom in on him, and he's clapping. He just does a little jazz hands, a little fun.
Affordable, high-speed internet for every American. Rural, suburban, urban.
That's all. I just thought that was funny.
It's just a guy doing jazz hands.
He kind of just does jazz hands real quick. He's not standing, by the way. He must have a bad knee or hip or something.
He looks pretty bored.
Yeah.
And it's like he just... Oh, you're right. They do have a monitor because he saw himself on camera and then did a little jazz hands to kind of say, "Here I am."
Yep. Hey,
that's funny.
Yeah, and it's got to be planned, which is what I think is interesting too. Like, we're going to go to him during this part and whatever. As much as we heard, America First in Trump's presidency, Biden's really leaning into that America First narrative here.
When we use taxpayers' dollars to rebuild America, we're going to do it by buying America. Buy American products. Support American jobs.
And why do we have to buy
racist.
American? Oh, why do we have to buy American?
We also need a level playing field.
Oh, wait. Is that a loving playing field or a level playing field with who? Hold on, let me play.
We also need a level playing field with China and other competitors.
No, not a level playing field.
We need a loving
playing field. See, he's so friendly.
We also need a loving
again. The truth wants to come out. He wants a loving playing field with China. That's one of his family's most profitable international business partners.
We also need a level playing field with China and other competitors. That's why it's so important to pass the Bipartisan Innovation Act sitting in Congress that will make record investments in emerging technologies and American manufacturing. We used to invest almost 2% of our GDP in research and development. We don't now. China is.
China is.
I think
he was trying to read China, but it came out can't.
We don't now. China is.
China is.
I'm telling you, man. It was like 1:30 in the morning. I'm clipping these and I'm going, am I going insane? I think I'm going insane. Pretty sure this is messing with my mind. This is one of the longer clips I have here. He goes into a whole story about, he tries to make it, really it's very Trumpian, if you ask me, about the rebuilding of America and things like that. But in this instance, he highlights Intel and really, lifts up Intel, the CEOs there and all that, and no mention of Tesla in this regard.
If you travel 20 miles east of Columbus, Ohio, you'll find 1,000 empty acres of land. It won't look like much, but if you stop and look closely, you'll see a field of dreams. The ground in which America's future will be built. That's where Intel, the American company that helped build Silicon Valley, is going to build a $20 billion semiconductor megasite. 10,000 new jobs. And in those factories, the average job about $135,000 a year. Some of the most sophisticated manufacturing in the world to make computer chips the size of a fingertip. The power of the world.
How long has computer chips been the size of a fingertip, Basil?
Quite a while.
I'd say a good 20 years, 30 years.
Now they're the size of you can almost not see them. They can be so small.
$135,000 a year. Some of the most sophisticated manufacturing in the world to make computer chips the size of a fingertip. The power of the world in everyday lives. From smartphones, technology, the internet, technology is yet to be invented. But that's just the beginning.
Okay, it's just the beginning.
Just the beginning. There's a little more here.
Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger, who is here tonight. I don't know where Pat is. Pat, there you go. Pat, stand up. Pat came to see me, and he told me they're ready to increase their investment from $20 billion to $100 billion. That would be the biggest investment in manufacturing in American history. And all they're waiting for is for you to pass this bill. So let's not wait any longer. Send it to my desk. I'll sign it. And we'll really take off in a big way.
We're really going to take off.
And folks, Intel is not alone. There's something happening in America. Just look around and you'll see an amazing story. The rebirth of pride that comes from stamping products made in America. The revitalization of American manufacturing.
Yeah, a lot of
the
it.
The irony of this is that the very reason we need all this investment in American manufacturing, especially of computer chips and capacitors and things like that, is because, as we know, they're all manufactured in Asia, not just China, but also Taiwan and other places. And the reason that is because of Bill Clinton. It's because of the Democrats in the early 2000s, late 90s. That Bill Clinton was the one that transferred all of that manufacturing over to China and other Asian countries. But it's just funny. That's the irony of it. The Democrats, Biden's good buddy Bill, got all that manufacturing out of the U.S. and into Asia, and here we are 20 years later having to bring it back because it almost destroyed us.
Yeah, and in the news cycle, Elon Musk was out there saying, "Hey, Biden, Tesla's here. We're, sustainable. We're climate change fighting. We're all this stuff."
They've been making bigger investments in American manufacturing than anybody else.
Yeah. And so I don't know why Biden never mentions Tesla, but it's good for theater.
Yeah, good point. And Pneumati brings up as well the environmental regulations drive the manufacturing out of the U.S. and over to Asia as well.
That's a big part of the ESG, the Great Reset. All that is
so it's the
forward.
Democrat policies of global manufacturing and environmental regulation that drove out manufacturing in the first place, made us dependent on foreign manufacturing. And so, when he brings it back, he's such a hero, but it's just wild.
Yeah, well, especially because our last president was really all about that, So
that was all Trump ever talked about.
People couldn't remember like 2 years ago.
He was racist when he did it. Trump wants to bring manufacturing back. He's a neo-Nazi, xenophobic racist.
Right.
But Biden does it. He's a patriot.
Well, about Build Back Better. We have
Never heard of it.
We have an American version of it now. And this might be my favorite clip of the evening.
The panic also disrupted the global supply chain.
The panic, not the pandemic. The panic.
The panic, yes.
The panic also disrupted the global supply chain. Factories close. When that happens, it takes longer to make goods and get them to the warehouses, to the stores, and prices go up. One way to fight inflation is to drive down wages and make Americans...
Hold on, honey. Hold on, let me hear that again.
...to the stores and prices go up.
How did he get the prices go up?
It takes longer to make goods and get them to the warehouses, to the stores, and prices go up.
Okay.
One way to fight inflation is to drive down wages and make Americans poor. I think I have a better idea to fight inflation. Lower your costs, not your wages.
What?
Is that not the craziest thing you've ever heard in your life?
That is the craziest thing I have ever heard. The traditional way to fight inflation is to lower wages, which is, I guess, it is true, but it's not necessarily that simple. But okay. So lower your costs, not wages. What does he think costs are?
It's part of wages.
Yes, wages are costs. In fact, they're the most. Look, I'm not saying that anybody should lower wages. In fact, I think wages should go up.
They need to go up to keep up with the inflation rate.
Yeah, but
you're making less if you're making the same amount.
The reason wages go down to fight inflation is because they're the easiest costs to cut.
Yeah.
It's hard to cut costs on, materials and supplies and things like that. Metal costs as much as metal costs.
We're going to rebuild America. But
nothing.
You can't do it with you can't use money though.
What he said was nothing. It's just words for them to clap about, and while they're clapping, they're like, I don't think that made much sense. Just keep clapping, Schumer.
Oh, that's Kamala. She's really excited. She jumps out of her chair for this one.
Wages and make Americans poor. I think I have a better idea to fight inflation. Lower your costs, not your wages.
Yeah,
folks.
Which is funny because that was exactly what brought manufacturing out of the U.S. and into international markets. Was it cut costs?
Yeah,
that was the purpose of moving manufacturing out of the U.S.
Yep.
Because why? Because you pay lower wages in Asia. That's why it's cheaper.
Cheaper, okay.
That means make more cars and semiconductors in America, more infrastructure and innovation in America, more goods moving faster and cheaper in America, more jobs where you can earn a good living in America. Instead of relying on foreign supply chains, let's make it in America. Look.
America first.
Look, he's got a lot of looks too.
Economists.
Cheering. Oh, this is it. Okay, yeah, they start cheering USA, and Biden gets a little Joe smirk.
Increasing the productive capacity of our economy. I call it building a better America.
Starts hacking up into the microphone.
He starts hacking it up. He has this moment, this beautiful moment, where the crowd is chanting USA. He's feeling good. And he's delivering his punchlines, and he messes up the word economy, and he starts coughing after the big punchline.
But I like the new phrase,
building a better America. Let me hear it again.
Yeah.
Call this increasing the productive capacity of our economy. I call it building a better America.
That's what it is. Building a better America. We're going to start hearing that more.
Building a better America. Cough.
That's the new Build Back Better. The Build Back Better didn't work. Everybody caught on to the globalist agenda. Nobody likes it. Nobody, nobody voted for it. Nobody wanted it. It was too focused on other countries. This whole State of the Union address is really an entire 180 from his previous policy stances. A complete 180. He obviously, with the lowest approval rating pretty much in recent history. Yeah. He's like, okay, well, the Build Back Better thing didn't work. Nobody likes that idea. It's nonsense. Well, okay, so I guess we'll do the Patriot thing now. Okay, yeah, we're doing the America First. Well, we can't call it that because we can't call it that. Let's do Build a Better America. Okay, that's good. That's good. We'll go with that.
Baba. People are calling it Baba. B-A, Build a Better America.
Baba. That's funny. Yeah, it is Baba.
It's Baba. Oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah, this is funny.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. And the coughing, you okay? Daughter coughing as well. It's infectious. This whole thing.
Yeah, he almost, it's almost like he hates it so much his body just sort of like inherently rejected it. He's like, I can't believe, that I have to pretend like I care about America and then I want to put America above other countries. The globalism thing didn't work. I'm going to call it Baba. Oh, it's starting to come up.
Here's him talking about something called weatherizing. This is like a not social credit the way China has it, but close. It's kind of the carbon credit thing.
Look, the American Rescue Plan is helping millions of families with Affordable Care Act plans to save them $2,400 a year on their health premiums. Let's close the coverage.
What in the world? Their health premiums.
I'm sorry, folks. I did not get much sleep, but it's because of these. I was literally trying to hold down laughter. Some of the stuff.
Health premiums.
Health premiums.
$400 a year on their health premiums. Let's close the coverage gap and make these savings permanent. And second, let's cut energy costs for families. An average of $500 a year by combating climate change. So let's provide an investment tax credits to weatherize your home and your business.
You already do.
To be energy efficient and get a tax credit for it.
You already do.
You already do. That's kind of what I was wondering, right? Because you
what
can.
Is he talking about? And this capping health premiums. He's literally talked about this since he started running for president. This has been a major talking, and he could have done it at any point, and he still hasn't done it. So now he's just going into the same, making promises he has no intention of keeping.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just interesting to look into the energy.gov, Department of Energy thing where you can have them come inspect and do that.
They have already done this. This has been around for years.
Yeah.
This has possibly been around for a decade or more.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you make energy saving, upgrades to your home, you get tax benefits, tax write-offs for it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, cool. I mean, what a great thing to make a big speech about.
Mm-hmm.
We should do the thing we've been doing for years.
Vote for me.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Pocahontas has her moment.
I may be wrong, but my guess is if we took a secret ballot in this floor, that we'd all agree that the present tax system ain't fair. We have to fix it. I'm not looking to punish anybody, but let's make corporations and wealthy Americans start paying their fair share. Look, last year.
Well, that's Elizabeth Warren's moment. That's her cue.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what he says afterwards. It's just
that's funny. Yeah, they cut to her because she's the one who's been yelling about it recently, getting in toughs with Elon Musk on Twitter. Even though Elon Musk has paid more taxes this year than any human has to any government in the history of humanity. But yeah, okay, yeah, love it. Totally believe that all these corrupt lizard people are cheering for a raise in their own taxes.
And this is where he really unleashed the olive branch, so to speak, across aisles.
And while you're at it.
Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, I'm on the wrong one here. There's a couple I have to skip here to get to the correct one. Give me one moment.
Okay.
Apologies, because I wanted to make sure these are all categorized properly here. One more moment here.
No worries.
Yeah. Here we go.
Wow,
Here we go.
I'm excited.
Like community violence interruption, trusted messengers, breaking the cycle of violence and trauma, and giving young people some hope. We should all agree the answer is not to defund the police. That's right. It's to fund the police.
Uh-oh.
And everyone's standing clapping.
Fund them.
All the cameras are on the
Fund them
Republicans.
with resources and training. Resources and training they need to protect our communities.
I think you should keep going because I'm seeing some stuff here. No. I'll make the point now.
Okay.
Well, this speech was them preparing for 2022 for the midterms and for 2024.
Yeah.
The defund the police, the social justice, the wokeness, they went for it. Didn't work. Nothing worked. And they know they're going to lose their butts this year in the midterms, and they know they're going to lose their butts in 2024 to whatever Republican runs. Speaking of which, Trump pretty much said he's running 2024 recently. So, this is more than just another speech for them to do because the State of the Union is just sort of a tradition. This is the start. This is the beginning. This is the unveiling. The cornerstone moment where they are now they're doing an entire 180. And really what they're doing is they're catering to Republican-leaning independents, which is incredibly smart because it's the Republican-leaning independents that had the highest disapproval of Trump. You had, the hardcore Republicans were all about Trump, and there was last count, I forget what it was. It was something like 68%. That's not the right number. It was something big like that. It was some just huge majority of independents were leaning Republican for 2022 and 2024. And so as in classic status quo Democrat corporately funded fashion, they follow the polls. It's all about the polls. Yeah. They see a majority of independents are going to lean right in the next 2 years. So their entire platform is leaning right. And this is the unveiling of the new Democrat strategy. And this might work. This is their one. I mean, this is a good strategy. This might save them, or at least make it a little bit less of a spanking. Right. 2 years.
Well, when it comes to gun control, they didn't seem to budge a whole lot. Yeah. And what happened here? Hold on. Oh, here we go. Yes. Yeah. The gun control. And
real quick, part of it is they know that the radicals, the wokesters, they know that they're not going to vote Republican. It's another one of those things. It's blue no matter who for the hardcore woke social justice people. Even if they hate the fact that Biden is talking about funding the police, and I see a couple more things that they're not going to like here. They're not going to vote for Trump. So again, the Democrats, as they always do, are taking for granted the people that they claim to care about the most.
Yeah. It's never about that. It's always about numbers. It's true for both sides. It's just more blatant, I think, with this side of the aisle.
And the quote-unquote radical social justice woke Democrats, they're getting taken advantage of. The status quo Democrats don't care what they think. They know they're not going to vote Republican. So they're basically going to take sort of Republican stances on things.
Right. And this is another one.
Folks, if we're to advance liberty and justice, we need to secure our border and fix the immigration system.
Huh? Ted Cruz moment.
Wow.
I mean, if that's not theater, I don't know what is.
Wow. Yeah.
Olive Branch moment.
To Ted Cruz. You got Ted Cruz cheering for Biden. That's going to flip a lot of the right-leaning left-leaning.
No, right-leaning.
Sorry, right-leaning independents. Yeah. Right. Yeah, and you can see he's kind of like begrudgingly doing it.
All right, yeah.
But the guys in the control room are like, "Oh, build the wall, okay."
Well, it gets even crazier.
And as you might guess, I think we can do both.
Build the wall.
Build the wall, Chance? What, bro?
At our border, we've installed new technology like cutting-edge scanners to better detect drug smuggling.
They don't say
We've
that.
set up joint patrols with Mexico and Guatemala to
Mexico Guatemala is a new alliance. Did you know this?
Mexico and Guatemala to catch more human traffickers. We're putting in place dedicated immigration judges in a significant larger number, so families fleeing persecution and violence can have their cases heard faster, and those who don't legitimately hear can be sent back.
The dentures are starting to fall out. Yeah. So there you go. There's another one. The wall. So now you have fund the police. You have
fund
the border
the police
wall
and build the wall.
Build the wall. But this one, the gun one, not so much.
Assault weapons with high-capacity magazines hold up 100 rounds.
Please.
You think the deer are wearing Kevlar vests? Look, repeal the liability shield that makes gun manufacturers the only industry in America that can't be sued. The only one.
But even that stance is not that. That is not that left. I mean, there's plenty of Republicans or right-leaning independents who, their interest in gun freedoms is not relegated to protection for gun companies. Gun companies are protected similar to how vaccine companies are.
Right.
That's
what I was going to say. Is vaccine companies? So
that's actually a very weak gun control stance compared to what they've taken in the past, and even Biden himself has taken. And when he's referring to high capacity magazines, he just referred to a 100-round barrel mag. So that is not your 30-round, AR-15 mag or whatever. So, if they now, of course, he's just making a speech. This is not policy. But if the policy reflects 100-round barrel mags as the sort of standard for high capacity, again, not going to get a whole lot of pushback for that. So this is actually incredibly weak, where it may sound like, Democrat talking points. Liability shield for gun manufacturers and 100-round barrel mag bans is pretty much the weakest punch that they could swing politically speaking.
I just like the imagery of deer wearing Kevlar vests.
Yeah, it's a fun one. For sure.
To wrap up this segment here, let's hear from good old Ben Shapiro.
Oh, good.
Ladies and gentlemen, we gather here tonight to mourn the state of our nation, because the state of our nation is pathetic. And it is pathetic in the main because of the President of the United States. As it turns out, we all should have listened to Barack Obama. In 2020, former President Obama said something simple yet profound about his former vice president, a man he had labeled his brother. He said, "Don't underestimate Joe's ability to F things up." Barack Obama was right.
That's true.
All right. Well, there you go. Well, at least
that was great.
Two-thirds of it.
So
we got
revealing.
Got a little bit left in the tank, but I think the bigger stuff we got out of the way here. So
well, I mean, we got plenty more clips.
Oh,
we got
COVID. Okay, we got to go through COVID.
We got all sorts of stuff to do.
Oh my goodness.
More and more clips than you could even imagine. Well, 33 to be exact.
Yeah.
And but I think to summarize for me, at least this politics section, I mean, mark my words. This signals the shift for the next 2 years for the Democrat Party, which gives, it dramatically increases their chances of some sort of success, or at least less of a spanking in the next 2 years. And we'll start seeing this, change minds. I think the independents, they're targeted, and independents are going to need to look really closely at the next 2 years and how they're going to vote in order to, unfortunately, hate to say it, fall for it. Because if Biden or the Democrats get back in 24, it is right back where we started, baby.
All right, let's take a break here.
It's break time.
That's right, folks. We're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere, because after the break, we've got much more State of the Union. If you're having fun, I'm having fun here. I hope you are too. But State of the Union, we're going to be checking in with the pandemic. What did he have to say about COVID and the?
You mean the panic?
The panic, right? Yes. In his own words, the panic over the past 2 years. And of course, we're going to be checking in at the end of the show as well with some more miscellaneous, but again, just as luscious and juicy material coming out of the State of the Union address. So stick around. And just a reminder, YouTubers, after the break here, you're going to need to just go over to another platform. But before that, we want to take a second and thank some producers. That's right. I said producers. That's because we are on the value for value model. You may notice no advertisements, no affiliate codes, no partnership deals with broadcast platforms. No, nothing. In fact, we take no corporate money whatsoever. And that's because corporate money, believe it or not, is at least synonymous, if not parallel, to corporate interests. And do you really want corporate interests to get all wrapped up in your independent media news analysis and deconstruction? Didn't think so. Doesn't make much sense, does it? Makes as much sense as a deer wearing a Kevlar vest, if you ask me. You know, the thing. Well, that's why we're on the value for value model, which is a simple model, which means no corporations allowed, just the support of you, dear listener, who gets value out of the show. If you get value out of anything we do, and, you know, we try to create as much value as possible. We do 3 shows a week. We try our very hardest. We also have all sorts of resources available. You can get all of our, sources for the show delivered right to your email box. We have meetups. We have our own social networks. We have all sorts of things to help facilitate your journey into mainstream corporate news analysis or deconstruction. If you get value out of any of these things, you have the opportunity or the responsibility to put some value back in. And I say responsibility because, it's all of our personal responsibility. We've been growing up for decades and decades being taught that if a piece of media is worth a dang, it's paid for by corporations. And we've let the advertising industry and their evil lizard corporate clients decide the value of not just our entertainment, but also our news for way too long. And we've been sort of brainwashed and trained that this is the way things should be. But the value for value model is a rebellion against that global theology. It's a revolution in the way we think about the value of media and what it brings into our lives. So if you agree that the advertising industry has abused the public for long enough, using, think of Facebook and Google and all the big evil companies that are ruining the world. They are all centered around profiteering from advertising, which, is the reason for things like big data collection, privacy concerns, data sales, international data repositories that are more valuable than any other resource on the planet. Data is the new oil, we hear over and over and over again. And what is this data? It's your data, and it's fueled by the advertising industry. So that's why people who understand that realize that the value for value model is the only way forward. It's the only humane way forward. It's the only legitimate way forward. And it's the only way that independent media is actually independent. And so that's why we do the value for value model. And people who support the show, they're just like you. They're nothing special except for the fact that they've decided to take personal responsibility for their own independent media intake, and they've become producers of the show. That's right. I said producers. It's not a cute gimmick. It's not, just a fun little game we play, but it is, a producer is somebody who realizes that a shift needs to happen, and that if they don't make a move, nobody will. And that's why we like to thank them on the show here. They're real producers, just like any other piece of media. If you pay to have a piece of media produced, you are a producer of that piece of media, and you can put it on your resume, put it on your LinkedIn, put it on your CV, whatever the case may be. But we're going to thank you here and now. You can do that in a couple ways. You can head to patreon.com/CCNT, or even better, you can head on over to CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
That's right. Over at CanaryCry.Radio.com/support. All sorts of fun ways to support the show. If you're a cryptocurrency person, you can support the show with your cryptocurrency. You'll find our public wallets over there. If you want to support the show on a monthly basis to commit to keeping the show going, our monthly supporters, man, they are a godsend when producership is low for any individual episode. It's those monthly supporters who have laid down a firm foundation to keep this show going on a monthly basis. But if commitment is not your thing, you can go ahead and make a one-time producership in any amount. Isn't that fun? So many options. Gonz, who are we thanking today?
Okay, sorry. We don't have any executive producers or associate executive producers
today.
No,
we don't. Okay,
so
been a while since we haven't had any execs.
Yeah.
Do we have a sad...
Oh, yeah, child coughing is just as good, I suppose.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah. We need to get a jingle for when we feel sad about no execs, but that's okay. We've got other people producing the show, so let's thank them. Starting with the supply drop producers.
Supply drop.
That's right, CanaryCry.Supply.com. You can go there, sign up to support the show for $33.33 a month, and for that amount, you will be automatically included in our Canary Cry supply drop shipments, where you will receive once a quarter, 4 times a year, a very special, exclusive package filled with Canary Cry merchandise that nobody else has access to. Most of it are one single run manufacturing items. They're designed by Canary Cry artists, produced by Canary Cry producers, and manufactured here in the good old USA. Biden would be
Biden would be so proud.
Yeah, we were producing in the USA before Biden told us to, so that's got to be worth something. And that's right. The cutoff for March's delivery was yesterday. But you can still sign up. But thankfully, we had a whole big group of people come in on
crazy.
The last day, stressing me out. But we're very grateful that they decided to pull the trigger at the very last second. And so I will run through the list now. Okay. It's a nice long list, so let's not get caught up in things.
Okay.
But just put that trigger finger, that jingle trigger finger on automatic here, Gonz. Here we go. Starting with supply drop producer Joy T. Thank you very much, Joy T.
Joy
Next, PBM. Thank you very much, PBM.
PBM. All right. Thank you.
Marie C.
Thank you.
Yes. Next up, Clayton J.
Thank you, Clayton.
Brant W.
Oh, Brant. Good to see you. Oh, hold on.
Tim W.
Oh, going so fast. Tim.
Valerie O.
Valerie O. That was for Tim. This is for Valerie. Hold on. Let me catch you up. There you go.
Oh, come on. You're going to love this one. Dow Salesman.
I don't think that's what it is.
Oh, DOA Salesman?
I think it's Dead on Arrival Salesman.
Oh, DOA Salesman. That was Dow. He was going around selling Dows.
Close.
Roman G.
All right, Roman.
Kelly P.
Thank you, Kelly.
Shelly G.
Thank you, Shelly.
The Green Mountaineer came on in.
Green Mountaineer, thank you.
Yeah, Jackie U signed up. Thanks, Jackie U.
Thank you.
Jason H is in the house.
Jason H. Thank you.
We got Zach R, who jumped in over on Patreon.
Zach R. Morris.
Zach R. Morris. Shanta M.
Thank you, Shanta.
And Taylor H.
Taylor H. Swift. Oops.
Oh.
There we go.
There we go. Thank you. And those are all the producers who snuck in right under the wire over there to join the supply drop on the very last second. We're so grateful you did, and we're very excited. You know, we're doing it. We're pulling the trigger on the fun extra collectibles that I'm sticking in the supply drop.
Nice.
So there's very fun stuff coming your way, y'all. And there was a couple people. If you received an email from me, then you've reserved your spot on the list, but there's something you need to correct before we can officially thank you. So check your email, look for something from Basil and Gonz, and you can learn all about it. But you've got your spot in line for the March delivery, and we're very grateful to everybody. We're so excited to send out these packages. And remember, you can still sign up for the supply drop. It is not, signups are not closed. You will be put on the list to start receiving the deliveries in the second quarter. So you can go to CanaryCry.Supply.com to sign up. Thank you very much.
Waiting for supply drop.
Maybe we should credit the supply droppers with the executive producership.
That's a good idea.
I think so. I think that's what we'll do. Let's play the executive producer jingle for the supply droppers.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you very much, supply droppers. You deserve it, and we appreciate you joining the mission we have here to make some cool stuff and equip Canarians all over the country with.
Did you see? Did you see my little note to you, by the way?
Nope.
Text earlier with the thing that starts with an N and ends with a T, with an F in the middle.
Send me a note about some non-functioning trucks.
Yeah. It was actually a link, but I guess you didn't check it out. Okay, well, you can do it later.
But we will. Yes, Gonz wants so badly to send you supply droppers NFTs, so you'll hear more about that pretty soon.
Yep. Okay, we got more producers to thank here, so we are going to do that now. And to kick things off, we're going to thank James W.
Woo! Thank you very much, James W. And James W. came in with 7755.
Interesting.
Very nice. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what that number means, but I do appreciate it.
Any notes or anything?
I did not see a note. Did you see a note?
No.
And the shift button is stuck on my virtual keyboard. I don't know how a virtual keyboard gets stuck.
Yeah.
But I was going to try to head over and just do a quick search. You said it was James W?
James W.
Let me do a quick search. If there was a note, I don't want to miss it. Nope, not seeing it. Okay, well, thank you very much. Anyways, James W., very generous of you coming in with the 7755.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Estimating One Discovering Three.
Yes. Okay, Estimating One Discovering Three. Fun. Comes in with 7446. And a note here that says, this is Estimating One Discovery 3 in the chat. Ready to demooch, baby.
Demooch. Oh, boy.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Here it is. Do it one more time. Okay, here we go.
Okay, hold on. Take two. Roll it back. Charlie, edit this out.
Okay. Ready.
This is Estimating One Discovering 3 in the chat. Ready to demooch. Whee! Thank you very much, Estimating One, Discovering 3 in the chat. So exciting, demooching, especially chatters. And the note continues, thank you for your excellent edifying work. We chose 72. That's what this was. It was 72 plus fees. Got it.
Yes.
Chose 72 because we talk so much about the division of nations and the hope we have as citizens of the one holy victorious kingdom. Shalom.
Amen.
Well, thank you very much. That's very, very generous and sweet of you. Estimating One, Discovering 3. Let me just get the exact. I'd have to go into the back end. Let's see. I just want to make sure I got the number right here. Let me do a little refresher-oonski.
Pretty sure that sounds right. 72 plus.
It was 72
fees.
Flat plus fees was 74.46. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up we have Alex G.
Alex G is in the house, and let's see here. Comes in with 33.33. Thank you very much, Alex G.
Thank you. Next we have Guy L.
Yeah. Guy L, thank you very much. Producer Guy L coming in for $25.
Thank you. That's a pretty round number there. I don't know why you're reading it.
Yeah, you're right. It was round. Sorry about that.
Next up, we have Brianna S.
Producer Brianna S coming in with the 33.33.
Thank you, Brianna. No note.
No note.
Next, we have Robert W.
Robert W. also came in with the 33.33. You know what? I need to do a quick check for something.
Oh, yeah, because do you think some of these are supply droppers that are getting caught?
Well, we don't know. No. None of them have been confirmed. They have been asked if this was meant to be a supply drop. But, no big deal. I mean, even if they're coming in once, it's wonderful. But they do have the ability to write me back, and we'll get to the bottom of it.
Perfect.
But I was just making sure. Yes. Okay. All right. Continue.
All right. Next up, we have Tim A.
Yeah, that's right. Producer Tim A. Thank you very much for the 33.33.
Tim A. Next up, we have Tristan S.
Thank you very much, Tristan S. for the 33.33. Yes,
thank you, Tristan.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Cloud Suriel.
Yes, Cloud Suriel is back, coming in with the 2130. And a note, here's an Agenda 2130 producership. Yes, the Agenda 21, now the Agenda 30. That's a fun 2130 producership. Hit me with a Nerdy Gates climate change jingle, a Thunberg how dare you, and a Dean scream.
Climate change. Climate change. Climate.
How dare you?
I need to leave a review, but I don't use Apple Podcast. How else can I leave one? Sorry, great Uncle Shamura. You can do one on Audible. I believe Audible will let anybody leave a review.
Yeah, that can work.
Thank you very much, Cloud Suriel.
Thank you. Next up, we have Morv.
Morv is on a streak.
How long is this streak? Ooh, okay.
59 episodes in a row. So close to that streak jingle upgrade. He comes in with the 1111 and note. James 5:7-8. Be patient until the coming of the Lord. See how the farmer waits for the precious fruit of the earth, being patient about it until it receives the early and the late rains. Establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord is at hand. Thank you very much, Producer Moore.
Thank you, Producer Moore. Appreciate that. Good scripture.
Yes.
Next, we have Palmer B.
Palmer B is on a streak.
She's on a... How long is that streak? There it is.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
That's right, 28 episodes in a row, coming in with the 1001.
1001. Amen.
Amen. Palmer B has a note here. This is tribute to our samurai friends Okusan for letting him live after all the late episodes they have done.
I will pass the note. Okusan means wife or spouse in Japanese.
Okay,
yes.
good.
So basically, it's a note to my wife that a thank you from a producer for not ending my life.
That's good. Yes,
it's a good one.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to send her a tribute as well. Thank you very much, Palmer B.
Thank you, Palmer B. Next up, we have JC.
JC is on a streak. JC is on a 74 episode streak, coming in with the 1001.
1001. Amen.
And a note that reads, it is WMD.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
The note continues. It has come to my attention that I have reached the level of knighthood. Woo! Yes, indeed. You've done it, JC. And for those who don't know, the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames is a very special squadron of producers who have produced the show in the amount of $1,000 or more over time or all at once. And JC certainly has been faithful and consistent and has reached that amount. So we will be knighting JC later on in the break. His note continues, although I yearn to live in a society that isn't glued to the screens or social media, I find myself addicted to my phone, online shopping, and am admittedly a total sucker for targeted advertising. So although I wish to be fully self-sufficient hunting, gathering, and surviving in the woods, I can't deny the blessings and ease of life that technology has brought us. I would like to henceforth be addressed as Sir JC, Knight of the Techno Squatch.
I like it.
Good name. Yeah. Love you guys and the entire Canary Cry community. All right, JC, you will soon be knighted as Sir JC, Knight of the Techno Squatch. We'll have your knighting ceremony in just a little bit.
Yep. Sounds good. Great stuff. Next, Sir Sigra the Beast.
Sir Sigra the Beast is on a streak. 10 episodes in a row, coming in with the 1001.
1001. Amen.
Thank you, Sir Sigra.
Thank you, Sir Sigra. Next up, we have Jason P.
Jason P comes in with the 1001.
1001. Amen.
Jason P has a note here. Just got my sweet Canary Cry calendar. Thanks, guys, for your work. Yes, remember
it's Groundhog Day.
Today on the calendar, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
33rd day of the year, it says.
Oh, it's the...
No, wait, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm looking at the wrong month.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, today's nothing.
Okay.
Sorry, I was a month off.
Thank you very much, right. Jason P. And yes, those who signed up for the supply drop in January, we had a special where if you signed up for the supply drop in January, you received the Canary Cry calendar as well.
Yep.
And they just shipped. So if you signed up early for the supply drop, your calendar should be arriving soon.
My brain is doing things. Thank you, Jason P. Next up, we have LX Protocol V2.
LX Protocol V2 coming in with the 777 plus fees. Thank you, LX Protocol V2.
Thank you.
And says it's Ash Wednesday, my dudes.
Which Wednesday do I play for that one?
It's my dudes.
Oh, my dudes. Okay, here we go.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
That's right. I've been listening to the show for a long time and just started producing. Thank you for all that you do. Harry Legs and Dean Scream, please. Do you have a jingle for Corn Pop? Stay classy. LX Protocol V2. Thank you very much, LX Protocol. What is it you think he wants a demooching? He didn't mention demooching, but he did mention that he's just started producing.
Didn't he come in last time, though?
He signed up for Supply Drop last episode.
Okay.
So I guess that was the technical demooching.
Okay. Well, we don't want to just...
Yeah, we don't want to demooch. If somebody doesn't want to be demooched, you can always request it later, LX Protocol. But yeah, let's give him that hairy legs and a Dean Scream.
Hairy legs and Dean Scream. Okay.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
Nope, wrong one.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
There we go.
There we go. Thank you, LX Protocol V2.
I don't think
we have a Corn Pop jingle.
We don't, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Too bad.
All right.
Who's
up next?
Next up, Puddin22.
Puddin22 is in the house. Our favorite cat producer is on a 5-episode streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
Coming in with 7s and B's and a note that says, it's Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Can I get the old jingle, please? Yes, there you go. In response to the State of the Union disaster, Lord help us all. The TV is now buried in my litter box where it belongs. Thanks, Basil and Gonz. Have a meowvelous day. Puddin22. Thank you very much, Puddin.
Thank you, Puddin22. Next up, we have Sir Scott, Knight of Truth.
Sir Scott, Knight of Truth is, you know it, on a streak.
Oh, yeah!
Thank you so much.
That's right, 114 episodes in a row coming in with 777. Thank you, Sir Scott.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
And that concludes our producers who have come in the amount of 777 or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. But we have some more producers who have come in, and we at least want to thank them here. Gonz, we had... Oh, there we go. Oh. We had a producer just come in under the 777.
Okay.
And, I don't. So we usually don't read notes for under 777, but this is a demooching. So I do want to. I'll read a piece of the note, and then we'll demooch them.
Okay.
It says here, I love you guys and all the Canarians in chat. Thorn A, demooch would be awesome. Okay. Thank you very much. Thorn A.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, Thorn A is in the chat. I've seen you. Yeah, let's demooch Thorn A. There we go. Glad to, we usually don't do that, but for a demooching, we got to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we've got Doctor Who Done Dat on a 60 episode streak.
You did it, Doctor Who Done That.
You did it. You've made it to this Will Ferrell streaking jingle. Thank you, Doctor Who Done That, for your continued support. Next up, we've got Child of God, who is on a 59 episode streak. Indeed.
Thank you, Child of God.
Double checking. Yep, that's right. Next, we have the one, the only Sir Casey the Shield Knight on a 124 episode streak.
Oof.
Oh, yeah!
Thank you so much.
Next up, we've got Jackie Yu on a 31 episode streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
Thank you, Jackie Yu.
2 more until the Lizard Master shill. Next up, we've got the Streak Sisters, starting with Veronica D on a 90 episode streak.
Women rule! Women rule!
Good old Gavin.
Next up, we've got Gail M on a 90 episode streak. Okay, and a couple of quick notes before we move on to the next. Gail M and her Gail's Gratitude Grab Bag, which is sort of a behind-the-scenes giveaway that happens every week here, run by dear Gail M., where she has acquired a large collection of Canary-themed items. Very cool, whether they be statues or toys or old books or even some kind of rare older comic books.
Yeah, very interesting stuff.
Very interesting
cool
collection of stuff. And Gail's Gratitude Grab Bag, it's just 2 winners are chosen every week for whatever reason. Gail is in charge of this. So she decides who and why. And the winners for this, I guess, last week's Gratitude Grab Bag is Ebony Blaze and Dame Allie.
Hey.
So, yay, very fun. We need a little Gratitude Grab Bag jingle for that. And so Ebony Blaze and Dame Allie will get to receive a one-of-a-kind, beautiful Canary-themed object uncovered by the archaeologist Gail M., which is very fun. And yes, I think they've already gotten in touch there. So I'm not going to give out the get in touch email right now, but this is something we can expect every week. So if you're a chatter in the chat, or if you're on the social medias or whatever, and you are sort of deemed to be a special person bringing something special to the community. Gail will be, she's got her eye on you. Thank you very much, Gail.
Thank you, Gail.
Next up, we've got producer Runk Smash.
Thank you, Runk Smash. He's got to be on some kind of streak, right? Or
No. I think he purposefully destroyed his streak because he enjoys the streak jingles that are lower in the list.
Okay, all right.
So he's restarting again. Thank you very much, Runk Smash.
Thank you, Runk Smash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because remember we didn't have microfiction last episode. Mm-hmm. Okay, there is one correction I'd like to do, and that is we had one more supply dropper that didn't make it on the list, and that was my fault, and that is producer Cherie H.
Cherie, thank you.
Yeah, see, Cherie is there. Sorry about that, Cherie, but we got you on the list, and that means you're a executive producer this week.
Ooh.
Okay. I think we should go directly into it's time to knight JC.
Ooh, that's fun. Okay, let me
look around.
We gotta find.
It's been a while since
it has been a while
since we've pulled out the
Well, here's mine. My katana.
There you go. Okay, here's mine. Here we go.
Oh.
Did it break?
Fall.
Oh no, it's stuck.
Here we go.
Hold on. All right, we want to call up JC to the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, where we have a seat for you. Thanks to your generous support in the amount of $1,000 or more, we are proud to pronounce you Sir JC, Knight of the Techno Squatch. Please join us at the Canary Cry Round Table, where we have the belt of truthful truthiness, the breastplate of righteous righteousness, custom fit Birkenstocks to carry forth the gospel of peace, the shield of ferocious faith, the helmet of substantiating salvation, the supernatural sword of the spirit, and of course, adorable samurai babies, infinitely cute kitties for cuddling. And if you're hungry, we have fancy feast wet food, carved to Cosmo the CRISPR cow, and of course, fried wormicorns. Welcome to the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, Sir JC, Knights of the Techno Squatch.
It took longer than...
Oops.
And the crowd goes wild. Yes, congratulations all over the place, folks. And again, JC, thank you very much for your faithfulness and your generosity in supporting the show. We are happy to induct you into the very special Roundtable of Knights and Dames. We'll make sure to update the website, and now you can finally polish up that armor you've had sitting in the closet for so long. All right, time for us to move on. We're just a few minutes behind Gonz, so let's thank everybody for the patronage and check some voicemails.
Yes, we will. Hold on. Got to get to the right spot to do that.
Yes.
Shut up and take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patronage.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message.
Leave a message. Message. Didn't get me that time. All right. So we have one voice message, but for those who don't know, you can go to CanaryCry.Newstalk.com. On the right-hand side of the page, you'll see a green tab. If you click on that tab, you can leave us a message right there on your browser. Works on mobile, works on computers, just whatever you got a microphone on. It'll work wonderfully. You can give shout-outs to listeners, thank producers, leave your own Canary Cry Boots on the Ground report, or just make some comments. It's been an open line for our celebrity listeners to leave, very important opinions on the Wednesday Jingle Civil War. And today, Gonz, I can't believe it's taken this long for him to call in, but let's go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage.
If you are receiving this transmission, then hopefully it's not too late. The globalists have sent in their quadroons trying to inject us with their new Wednesday jingle. I'm here to tell you folks that this is a war. The war isn't fought with tanks and interdimensional monkeys and lizard tattoos. This war is for your mind. And now they want to get us to stop the old ways when men were men and humans. And they used to yell. They used to scream.
And of course, that was Alex Jones calling in defense of what, the old way? I don't even know what stance he's taking.
I don't know. It just
they're
depends.
trying to inject us with the new Wednesday jingle.
Yeah. He's more traditionalist. That makes sense.
Yes, he likes the old Wednesday jingle. Thanks, Alex, for calling in. It sounds like Alex was like many of the celebrities who call in. Pretty inebriated.
Yeah, it seems to be a theme.
Seemed like an Alex Jones on Quaaludes situation. He's kind of old school like that. I'm sure he has the hookup for some old style Quaaludes. Well, thank you very much, Alex Jones, for leaving that message. And you, dear listener, can leave us a message as well over at CanaryCry.Newstalk.com. That little green tab over on the side. You know where to find it.
Mm-hmm.
That concludes our voice messages for today.
Sounds good.
Which means we are about to wake up out of the break and into the second block of the show.
Oh, yes.
So, unfortunately, you YouTube viewers, you've got some decisions to make. Maybe you're one of those YouTube viewers who says, I just love YouTube too much. It's too convenient. It's it's where my heart lies, and it's I will not partake in any platform that does not actively seek to hamper and destroy free speech. And so therefore, I will not listen to the rest of the show. That is one option. Or if you are free, if you're a free person out there making their own decisions, not enslaved by the tyranny of convenience, then go ahead and follow us in one of our other locations. Catch the rest of the show over there. A good suggestion is Twitch. There's also Odysee, Rumble. Twitter is also streaming the show if you want to watch it there. DLive. DLive is a great option. So there you go. Lots of options for you. You can find them at CanaryCry.Party. Because what follows next, folks, ye be warned, is too hot for YouTube. Bye.
YouTube. Now you see